Hi, it's Ashley from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and welcome back to my channel where I make a lot of cake and cookie decorating tutorials as well as give a lot of baking business tips. And as per usual, stay till the end of my video if you want to know how I would price this cake. So I'm using my favorite chocolate cake recipe, and we're actually going to take this round cake and turn it into a heart. So first off, what you want to do is you want to start off with a cross, just like I did, and then you're going to go ahead and you're going to cut off a little section. Now this section here is actually going to be the top of your heart. Now I've seen this method done a couple of ways. Some people like to fill the cake first with their filling or frosting, and then they like to cut it. I personally like to fill it second so that I don't waste any frosting, but it is a little bit trickier to do it this way. So if you want to, you can definitely fill it first and then attach it. I just find it a little trickier because it's a little bit more of a puzzle piece and you have to make sure that things stick together. So if you're just starting out working with buttercream, I might fill it first instead. I am using a very slate gray type buttercream today. It's actually a mocha American buttercream, which I'm going to show you how I make in a different video. But the reason that I use that frosting is because on the top, I'm going to fill it with these kind of silverish sprinkles. So I want to make sure that the frosting doesn't show through at all. If I went with a white, it would be a little bit more obvious that the sprinkles were covering it. So this way, it's all going to blend in together. Now I did crumb coat this twice, which essentially is me fully coating it. The reason is because I wasn't super happy with the shape in the first place, so I wanted to fix those little parts, and you might get that when you use this method of cutting things. So definitely if you're finding you don't like the shape and you want to sculpt it a little bit more with your buttercream, place it in the fridge, don't fiddle around with it and try to get the shape right the first time. You'll end up crumb coating that over and over and over again. Instead, place it in the fridge. That way you can fill in all the little gaps and you can shape it a lot more easily. While that's sitting in the fridge to develop a little bit of a crust, and it will develop a crust because it's an American buttercream, I'm going to mix up my fondant, and I'm going to use these Tiffany blue heart sprinkles on top as well, so I want to kind of match it to that. I used a lot of satin ice in white and a little hint of satin ice in blue and mixed it together to get that kind of sky blue color. Now you'll notice I'm steaming my buttercream. This is one way to get your fondant to stick to your buttercream without having to add any shortening. However, I will say it is the quote-unquote riskier way to do it, and you'll see what I mean here in a few. I also do like to steam off my board so I can get it nice and clean, so I'm just taking a little bit of paper towel to get all of that excess off before I add on my fondant. Now I'm measuring with my pastry cutter to see how high I really need this. I want it to go up a little bit above the edge so that it looks like the lip of the box. Making sure to roll out that fondant thin but not too thin. If you go too thin, it's going to flop over and it's going to be really, really hard to work with. So remember we talked about how steaming is a little bit of a riskier way. You can see that I get a little bit of black smudging here and there on my box, which really made me sad. The way that I got rid of that is I eventually steamed it after I made sure that I was happy with the shape and everything, and then I just kind of rubbed it out of the fondant. It does the job, but it won't ever be as pristine as if you didn't get any frosting on it in the first. Once again, I love that multi-cutter because you can get as many different size lines as you would like, and it always turns out nice and perfect. You can do it freehand too if you don't have that tool. It just takes the guesswork completely out of things. It's really, really nice. So then I'm just cutting off the excess. I'm putting this at the bottom. Again, this is kind of supposed to be like the lid of the box underneath. And then now for the fun part, we're going to put in all of these sprinkles. So these are just some quins. You can honestly color your quins yourself too. So if you just want to load up on white quins, and then you can put a little bit of luster dust in there and shake it up in a jar, and you can come out with any color quins that you want. You don't always have to buy them the exact color that they come in. As we know, buying sprinkles is pretty pricey, so it's easier if you buy them in bulk. Now, if your buttercream has crusted up too much to the point where your sprinkles aren't sticking at all, just give it a little steam. I wouldn't recommend putting any more buttercream on there because it's going to be really, really hard to get it nice and smooth. I'm just putting these sprinkles on the edge first because I need to put my chocolates down in order to see where I need to put more sprinkles. So you could do this one of two ways. You could make all of your own chocolates yourself, but I wanted to use up some of that chocolate that I still have lying around from Christmas actually. So I'm going to put those on there. It's also way easier, and I like the idea of keeping the wrappers on there, but you could take them off. I've seen this style of cake done a number of ways. So really guys, it's all up to you, whatever you you want to do and whatever looks aesthetically pleasing to you. After filling in all of those gaps with the quins, I'm going to place on these really, really beautiful heart sprinkles. Absolutely love them. Shout out to Kitchen Jukebox. They are not a sponsor of this video. However, I just love, love, love all of the products that they have, and they're Canadian, so I will link them down in the description box below. I'm going to place on this ribbon here. Now, I have seen this done with a lid, but I think it looks really cute where you put the ribbon just straight across those chocolates and you don't have to deal with that extra lid. So I'm going to add on my little tails there, and now I'm going to create the bow. So to create the bow, I made one long rectangular piece. I folded in the edges. I like that look, but if you like a more cut edge look, definitely you don't have to fold in the edges like that. And then squeeze your bow together, shape it how you would like it shaped, and then I'm going to make the little piece that's going to cover up all those messy bits in the center. I took 2 pieces of rectangular fondant, again nice and long, and then I folded them in half, and I'm going to bind them together, and then I'm going to wrap it around the center here and squeeze everything together. Now, the bow is not going to hold super well. You do need to make sure that you add a little bit of water to it if you're going to be placing this upright or anything like that. I'm going to be placing it flat down, so I don't need to add anything to it at this point. I know I mention this every time, but for those of you that might be new, I'm attaching things by steam, but you can do it with water or edible glue. Now what I'm going to be using is this amazing Tinker Dust. Again, found it from Kitchen Jukebox. It is so amazing. I used to glitter everything when I first started making cookies. Literally glitter everywhere, but the product that I used wasn't FDA approved, so they started taking it off the shelves at baking stores. So this stuff is fully edible, and I find it glitters way more than any other types of products out there that I've used. Other things offer a bit of a sheen or a slight sparkle. This is that chunky glitter that I've been looking for. So let's get into the pricing of this cake. So this pricing comes from the fact that I would need to go out and get the chocolates. I probably wouldn't have them on hand. It's also a lot of sprinkles, and if they ask for those particular sprinkles, they have to be shipped in to me. But if this were a stock order, and I'd probably do it as a pre-order, I would be able to make everything in bulk, and I'd be able to ship everything in bulk as well. Now let's get into the subscriber submission of the video. This particular subscriber watches and comments on a lot of my videos. Huge shout out to her. Definitely go and check her out on Instagram. All of her desserts are homemade and vegan. And if you want to be the next featured subscriber on my channel, then please follow me at SD Bake Shop on Instagram, where you can either tag me in a photo or send me a photo of any of your desserts. Any and all levels are welcome. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now, I'm uploading weekly, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Also, be sure to comment, request, or ask a question. I love hearing from you guys. Bye!